Hello, hello, and welcome back to Decoding the Flow, your podcast where we explore the concept on creative consciousness. I am your host, Drica Lobo. Thank you so much for tuning in on today's solo episode. I've been brewing inside my mind for quite some time now because it's very related to the book that I've been writing. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, Luna has take over the table. If you are just listening, just be aware that there's cats everywhere. In this episode, we've been away from each other for 5 weeks. She wants to be the center of the attention, and as a good cat person, we're gonna let her. Anyway, this podcast is brought you by one of your questions that you had sent me through Instagram. And the question was, are you an artist or are you a writer? And it's so interesting because remember when I mentioned a few weeks ago that I self-created this artist in residency and I have a few breakthroughs. And one of them was the connection that all of my work are simply one. And I started not seeing as the podcast, the blog, the email, because these are all things that I do on a weekly basis to feed my life's work. So either if I'm painting on the studio, even if I'm writing a book, or if I'm writing a blog or an email, or if I'm creating a piece of content, you name it, they all related to my life's work. And what I want you to think about it. And because this is a podcast hosted by an artist that also do and have multiple passions, I wanted to encourage you to start looking into your life as your biggest creative process. Think about it. If we are the creators of our life, right? Because that's what the creative consciousness is. It's not only when you realize that you're here to create life instead of reacting to life, but it's how you can embody this on a day-to-day basis. Because it's very easy to say that, yeah, I create my own life, but to embody that power that comes within us. So if we flipped the script and we think about it, our day-to-day life as the biggest creative process that we can have. And I think this can mean so many things for different people. If you are an artist like myself, that would be probably very easy for you to imagine your life's work. Imagine you working in a business proposal or playing with your kids. Everything is part of your life's work because it's everything that you do. You are infusing all that you are, right? Every time I teach art workshops, I always say that nobody can paint the way I do because no one had exactly the same life experiences that I had. And this is the most beautiful thing that we can always start embodying more of our creative consciousness, not only when we want to bring things into our life, but in our day-to-day basis. The way that you play with your kids, with your cats, the way that you communicate via text message, the way that you put things in the fridge. It is so interesting. For a very long time in my life, I worked in the restaurant business. And I did a lot of private catering. And I was fascinated by because one of the main thing that I love catering food, it was to get to know people's home. Not because I was interested on what they have, but what were their interests? What were the things that caught them attention? Because when you go into someone's home, you can tell a lot about that person and their values. Even if you look in every inch of your house, you're gonna find yourself there because that is no other way. So here's my invitation to you to start looking into your life as your biggest creative process because it is. Art is not life. Life is art. And I've been meditating into this because that's the main core of my book. I want you to flip the script because it is so easy for us to get caught up in our problem. If you don't know how to figure out something, you have to go within yourself because the solution is right there. Don't ask around what you need. Ask yourself. I don't know what religion do you have? But I always pray and you get an answer. I made a stories the other day and I think it may resonate. There is a period of our life that we grow so much that we don't fear things anymore. The only reason we don't fear things anymore is because we know we are going to figure it out. And I had this coming through me because I've been fearful more than half of my life. I've been living in scarcity more than half of my life. And you have to start paying attention to your thoughts every single day. If you wanted to be able to embody creative consciousness, you need to bring the unconscious conscious. That's the only way you're going to bring creative consciousness through fruition. When you bring the unconscious to the conscious, you're no longer reacting. So if you change the filters of your life and look at your life as the biggest masterpiece. Think about it. When you go to a museum or a gallery or an art opening, if you're watching this, that is probably something that you love to do. If you don't, if you do not like to do that, I highly recommend that you do that on a weekly basis or at least on a monthly basis because it will expand your perception of life. And it's a beautiful thing to admire work and to be in awe on a regular basis. Going back, imagine your life. It is a museum, right? So I'm looking into my life as Drica's museum. Get your name, put it on top of the museum. Use your imagination, okay? And imagine that in each wall, it represents all facets of your life: spirituality, creativity, family, health. Which wall of that museum needs to have extra light on it? You are listening to Decoding the Flow with me, Drica Lobo. If this conversation is inspiring you, take a moment to follow the show and share it with someone who is ready to live more creatively. You can find more inspiration, art, and behind the scenes stories at dricalobo.com or my Instagram at dricaloboart. Now, let's take a deep breath and get back to the flow. Think about that. I think it's such a beautiful analogy that we can all start using, not tomorrow, but right now. Because our creative consciousness, all it needs to do is to be remembered. We don't need to invent the wheel. We are already born with everything that we need to shine and to become successful. Whatever success means to you, we are here to bring things to life. Life wants more life, right? And you can see this in all nature. We are here to experience the all life that we have in this few years that we are here on planet Earth. But I don't want to go that far in reincarnation, but like if we only have this life, because Drica, with these traits that I was born with in this life, that's all I got. That's all I got. That's the only life I have with this body that I have, with these features, with these characteristics. Yeah, the soul may go on, but the life as Drica, that's it. Very short. So might as well make an art of it. I have this beautiful book, changed my life, and I want to read a quote on this book that kind of represents what I've been talking about, and maybe it will help you to shift and to make that plot twist in your life. The name of the book is The Man Who Tapped the Secrets of the Universe. It's a small book, but it's a very dense book. You might have to read a few times. I am on my third time reading. It's from Glenn Clark, and he talks about the life of Walter Russell, an American polymath. He was a genius. And this is one of the quotes from Walter Russell. A menial task which must be mine, that shall I glorify and make an art of it. I'm going to repeat that because I want you to digest, write that down. I have it on my notes because it really helped me with procrastination or resistance or something that you feel like you don't want to do because it's annoying. So you read this and you make an art of it. Imagine if you take all of your boredom tasks that you need to do and make it excited. Make an art of it. Imagine as your life as the creative process. Give the same care that you do in your own creative projects. This is life-changing way of living. I believe, and I start living this way. So I always wake up excited, and I don't think there's anything more beautiful than be excited, even when you need to clean the house. Okay, I'm going to repeat a menial task, which must be mine, that shall I glorify and make an art of it. That means it must be mine, means that I need to do. I am the only one that need to do. Shall I glorify and make an art of it? It's such a beautiful way to live our lives. And I really hope you can get that, because we go to another level of consciousness just by glorifying everything that you need to do, even if it is annoying. And okay, if it is something completely annoying and if you're dealing with people that you hate, you probably have to reevaluate your life, right? Or maybe it's your boss or a family member that you don't like that much and you have to deal with that. Just think of that quote. It might be very helpful. Practice this week to see your life as your entering into your museum, right? How would the walls look like? Would they be uplifting? Would they be sad? What are the parts of your life that needs adjustments of the lights? Where on this painting is balance? Where does it need focus point? Ooh, this is good. Where in this painting of my life called love and needs a focus point, right? That's exactly what I've been doing. And life is so much more excited this way when you look at your life as your biggest museum. So do that. So try to do that for this whole week. And the conclusion and the way I wanted to finish, what if the biggest masterpiece of your life, it is not even the things that you accomplished, but the person that you need to become to be able to accomplish those things. And also think about it, all of the projects that you have going on in your life and all of the things that you're dealing right now, do they uplift you or do they let you down? Are you excited to work on them or you're not excited to work on that? Make an audit in your life. I always have to audit life to see the things are aligned with where you want to go instead of align with the past version of yourself. And we all go through this in life, especially middle age after your 40s. I know they're so weird saying middle age, but this is true. Maybe like starting at 35, we start asking ourselves questions to see, I'm not sure if these things are really aligned because we all change. Even if we don't want to change, we will evolve, we will expand because this is the life's flow. It's always expanding. Remember, I told you life wants to create more life. That means it wants expansion. It doesn't want repetition. And even if you think your life is repeating, it is not. It is just expanding because you're not the same person. They need to open your consciousness to see what is that lesson that you still haven't figured out, but you changed every time. All right, my friend, I told you a few days ago that I don't have this book. It's my first edition of Decoding the Flow. I don't have this on sale anymore. I met with my publisher this weekend. She is going to do some book launches in Brazil. So she decided to give it to me, the final 7 copies of my book. There are only 7 copies of Decoding the Flow. This is the first edition. Why I want you to have the first edition? This is the basic for you to live by your creative gifts. And when I say live by your creative gifts, it's not about making a living off your creative gifts, but to be respectful of your soul's journey and what you are here to do. Your life's work. How can you live in alignment with your life's work? And also we talk about flow states, which makes everything so much more easy. Go into the comments and say, I want my copy. and I will personally ship it to you because that's all I have, 7. I can't wait for you to read it. Don't forget, if you resonate with the message today, leave your comments with your biggest takeaway and share with somebody who may be in need of this message. Have a good one. Bye.